Hi, everyone. Happy International Women's Day. Now, speaking of International Women's Day, I am joined here by an amazing woman in tech, Diana Bald. She's CEO of In Rhythm. And the two of us just thought we'd bring you an interesting discussion to highlight some of the amazing work that women are doing in the field of tech and specifically AI to commemorate and celebrate this day. Hi, Diana.
Hi, Elaine. Happy International Women's Day.
The two of us are going to bring you an exciting program in addition to the rest of our team. We'll be announcing the speakers and the agenda very soon, but it's in person in New York City on April 24th. And the theme is Redefine Possible. I was thinking, Diana, maybe you can tell us a little bit more about that.
At Women Tech Makers this year, we change the theme every year, but this year it's Redefine Possible. It's a call to challenge boundaries, innovate, and lead in spaces like AI. The really cool thing is we're not just celebrating it for today, we're celebrating it for 2 months long we're hosting events, discussions, as you know, and initiatives to elevate women in tech.
I think this theme, Redefine Possible, is very, very timely. I'll tell you why. As a woman in communications, media, and tech, I think that now is an interesting time to be working in tech and specifically AI because we're at the forefront, the cusp, right? There is something very, very exciting and interesting and exhilarating, kind of scary too, to be at the very beginning of pioneering something. So AI as a concept has been around since the 1950s, but it's only recently in these last couple of years that we're really seeing it explode and really scale on a global level and really start to be able to use it to tackle and solve some of society's biggest problems, problems that we thought previously weren't solvable. So that for me is why the theme Redefined Possible is so timely this year, so fitting, and why I think it resonates so much. But how about you?
Yeah, I think AI is at an inflection point. There's no better time for women to claim leadership roles. And I think women are ideally suited because, we're natural creators, nurturers, and multitaskers. We tend to plan ahead and anticipate needs. And some of the examples of women leaders that I have in mind to talk about today are very uh, come from the perspective of caring and nurturing others.
I think you're spot on when you talk about the female advantage. That's how I think of it too. So I think regardless of which sector, right, throughout history, whether it's in literature, in the performing arts, in healthcare, women, I think by nature, we bring a lot of different skill sets that are complementary to men. And I think that they can be used as a competitive advantage. And they give us a distinct factor too, oftentimes when it comes to pioneering or pushing the boundaries of what's possible. So I'll give you a couple examples of like great female heroes throughout history that really resonate to me. One is Amelia Earhart. Very sad that she disappeared on her last flight, but also very brave that she was the first to fly solo across the Atlantic Ocean. We think about back in Amelia's time is different, very different from now when you can get on a flight and be across the world and within under a day. But back then, this is daring, and she really risked her life. Literally, that's what happened to push the boundaries on what's possible. And I look to modern day examples, and I love this theme of how women throughout history are very consistently pushing the boundaries. A favorite of mine is Michelle Yeoh. We remember her 2023 acceptance speech for the Oscars, Everything Everywhere All at Once. And she said, I have this line literally printed on my wall. Ladies, never let anyone tell you you are past your prime. And I think whether it's in AI or in tech, it's a great life philosophy, which is never let anyone tell you or you yourself think it's not possible to do something because we don't have the capabilities, because we are past a certain age, or because society tells you not to. So I think that's a great example of tying it back to Redefine Possible. Women have been slaying it throughout history and telling people that it is possible. You just have to put the imagination and the creativity and then the fearlessness into it.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned her because I feel we're constantly evolving, and we've known each other for a while now, and every time I talk to you, you're onto something new. You're creating something else, and it's like it never ends for us, right? We're constantly growing and learning and redefining what's possible for ourselves. So it's really exciting.
I think a lot of that mirrors the dynamic we see in tech. And I think tech is one of those sectors which it's constantly evolving, right? Just when you think you have solved the next big thing, or this is it, it can't get any better, a new technology, especially in AI, comes along and there's another way to do it even better. So I think that's a great point you bring up, Diana, which is that throughout history, change in life in general, change is the only constant. life is always evolving. Tech is a sector where change is constantly the constant. And women, I think, are very well suited because of our innate nature to really embrace and also thrive in that kind of uncertainty.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like we're all also naturally entrepreneurial. You know, we're natural builders and problem solvers. We think about the big picture. We have a lot of empathy, and we kind of look at things from a big picture, human-centered approach that's really suited for and really needed today, actually.
I would love to ask you, because we've been talking a lot about women who inspired us throughout history. Are there women who are leading the charge in tech and AI these days who are really on your radar or you find very admirable? I have a couple folks, but I'd love to hear from you first.
Oh my God, there's so many. We could spend like an hour together if I went if we dove into each one of them, but I'm just gonna give you the ones that are top of mind for me. And of course, you know, you probably heard of her, Murati. She's amazing. She's the former CTO at OpenAI, and she recently founded Thinking Machine Labs in last month, actually, in February. And what's really cool about her is the company aims to develop advanced AI that is more understandable and customizable. And she's bridging the gap between complex technologies and user-friendly applications. Um, one of the approach she's taking is she's planning on publishing regular technological content, including scientific papers and blog posts and open source code. So, yeah, she's definitely top of mind for me.
Can you name maybe one or two other ones?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Dr. Iman Abu Zaid. She's the co-founder and CEO of Incredible Health, and they're helping to address the shortage of hospital workers that we have. You know, as people live longer and people are aging, she's helping solve the critical issues in healthcare by matching nurses with hospitals.
I love that last example you brought up because I think it's a great proof point of how AI, a lot of the innovations that we're seeing coming forth from this sector are helping to address timely, pressing, and urgent global needs, right? So you talk about the lifespan preventative health and how there's a shortage of hospital workers. And I think the COVID pandemic was one of the height of when we saw that, right? We have that is when human healthcare workers are really needed, but there's a shortage. How do you leverage tech to really help fill that void? Because what we're really talking about here is lives who are at stake, and every human deserves quality care. But how do you do that? Well, tech can help fill in that gap. So I love that last example. I'm going to add one more. One my woman in tech that I wanted to spotlight is someone who was just highlighted and profiled in Business Insider earlier this week. Her name is Lulu Cheng Messervy, and she is the founder of Rostra. It's a PR firm specializing in helping to amplify and build and tell the stories of brands that are founder led. And as a woman in communications, that reading her story really opened my eyes up to a whole new world of possibilities. I mean, one of her clients is Sam Altman, speaking of AI, right? Great leading figure in who's leading the charge at OpenAI. And you talk about there is this push, this trend toward founder led, which ties back to the whole concept of direct to consumer. But there's a lot of companies in this space that are popping up, and she has really carved out an amazing niche for herself to really help build into her brands and tell those stories. So she is my woman to spotlight in tech and AI for this year.
Yeah, wow, amazing women, aren't they? All of them that we spotlighted.
Awesome. I wanted to also ask you, like, one thing that I think about when I read AI is, well, AI is popping up everywhere, right? It is changing and transforming and in many ways improving the way we live our daily lives. Anything from e-commerce, so looking at Amazon, Rufus, he's in beta right now, but it's a great assistant to use for solving like everyday simple problems, like, hey, why wasn't my shipment refunded, or where did my package go? Right, to in robotics. And then, so a company that I find or a sector that I'm really looking at in terms of trends to watch is healthcare. There's a company that's on my radar called Unite Genomics. It's within the Mark Cuban portfolio. And what they really do is they take the burden and the inefficiency of having a patient going to all the different providers that have treated that they've seen for care and treatment. And this AI technology really removes all of that and helps a patient to simply access all their medical records and compile them and send it to a new provider. I think that's a great example of, like you talked about healthcare earlier, how AI is really being used to improve the healthcare system as we know it, but making things simple, seamless, more accessible. And I'm seeing it just literally change different aspects of my life every day for the better. How about you? Is there like an AI trend that you're really keeping an eye on?
Yeah, there's several. I mean, I've been monitoring the AI space with regard to climate change and satellites. There's satellites out there that are sending information to help insurance companies detect where floods are going to happen, the intensity of the floods. There's just so much happening in healthcare, as you said, with AI and patient care and personalized medicine. And you mentioned retail and e-commerce is another one. There's hyper personalization and supply chain optimization. Really, in financial services, with like taking other factors into consideration with credit scores, besides the what's been traditionally evaluated. So for me, like everywhere, because I'm in the space, every day I find a new company that I get excited about and that I want to spotlight or look into. So yeah, there's a lot of really interesting things happening um, in that space.
And I think that's a great way to tie it back to the reason why we're doing this discussion today, which is it's International Women's Day. So once again, happy International Women's Day to you and to all the amazing women in tech out there. But it's really a reminder what we see in AI. The bigger trend is AI and this technology and how it's scaling and innovating is really helping us to reimagine and redefine what's possible. Things and problems and issues that we thought were not previously solvable, we're tackling them every day with AI. And this is only the beginning. Imagine, like we talked about some of the great work that's being done in healthcare and robotics, right? But if this is only the beginning and we're only at the cusp, imagine what better and newer innovations are yet to come. So I'm really looking forward to this future where all the different possibilities have yet to be unlocked. And I hope you are too.
Well, absolutely. I want to, before we close, I wanted to ask you, Elaine, you know, if you had a tip, I saw trending on LinkedIn, the people were giving tips to like yeah, other women and younger generations. If you had a tip for people, women entering the workforce today, what would it be?
Okay. So it's twofold, if I may, because I'm greedy. The first one is to really trust your gut instinct. There is something really about the emotional 2.0, right? It's your North Star. Trust your instinct. It's going to change throughout your working career. When you want it, when you're first coming out of college, may be different when you're in the middle of career, and it may be different later on in your career. So really, one is trust your gut instinct. It's usually correct. Even if it's telling you something that you don't want to do or you don't want to believe, there is truth in that inner voice. And the second thing is to really follow your passion and to make sure that whatever you're doing next, there has to be fire in the belly. This is very true. Think about it. What is the one thing that distinguishes people when they're in a marathon? Why do some people push through to the end? Why do some people naturally wake up at 4 a.m. and then they go work out at the gym or whatever it is? It's because they're really passionate about it. That passion, that fire in the belly, whether it is helping you to launch your next company or figure out a way to tackle the next problem using AI, that is the make it or break it advantage. It's what keeps you pushing and pushing through when the tank is almost empty. So that's my 2 cents for you. That was a mouthful. I'm sorry, but I hope that helps.
That's wonderful. Thank you. And if I may, I have two that I thought of when you were talking. One of them is, and I've mentioned this before at another Women Tech Makers event, but I really believe in this one. That's be the CEO of your own career. You really just own it. Like, we can't necessarily say if we'll get us an opportunity to be CEO of a company, right? But you can certainly be CEO of your own lives, your own career. And what does that mean? That means like if you were to how do you run your own journey in a way that benefits you and those around you in the best way possible? And that's by thinking of yourself as your own leader, making decisions that are best for you and your loved ones. And another one that I have to share is just believe in yourself. There's going to be naysayers and people who try to bring you down along the way for whatever reason, it doesn't matter. That's their opinion and that's their life, and and they're right to think whatever they want to think. But just stay on purpose. Keep your vision in front of you where you want to go, and trust in that vision, and you'll be okay.
Awesome. Sounds good. So once again, thanks everyone for joining in. And remember, we have an amazing program planned in person for you next month, April 24th in New York City. Stay tuned.
Yeah, absolutely. Continue to celebrate International Women's Day with us. Keep keep up with our posts, and you'll find out more about our event in April.
Okay. Awesome. Thanks so much. So great to catch up with you today, Diana.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for meeting up today. Have a great day, Elaine.
All right. Bye. Happy International Women's Day.
Bye bye.